time for a sense of urgency and action to get people off the street, to intervene, to increase the shelter system, but to make it very clearly that we're not going to accept people living on tents in our sidewalks and our public spaces. That's not who we are as San Diegans. We care about people more than to let that happen. It is disappointing because it's not just numbers. I think, as we've talked about, these are real people that are on the street, and to see those numbers rise means more and more folks are out there without shelter. And I think it's so disappointing because we work so hard, collectively, as a city in several years back to actually reduce those numbers. They were going down by double digits. And now to see this rise, and it's not just 1 month, as you said, it's over and over and over again. It's going in the wrong direction. You have to have scale. You have to have more. And you can't just say we're going to increase, 20 beds here or 20 beds there. We need hundreds and hundreds of new shelter beds. I mean, I think back to when we put up the bridge shelters at first. 1,000 new beds, the great work that Father Joe's Villages was doing, Bob McElroy at Alpha Project. You have to have that scale and those wraparound services, to your point, mental health and others, and then you have to enforce. You have to enforce the quality of life that says it's not okay to have a tent encampment next to your house, next to your business.
Experience homelessness or work directly with homeless to try to see if there could be improvements or what improvements could be made.
You gotta flow with society like a river. Right now they're pushing people around. So the best things you guys can do is mobile structures.
Mobile structures?
That's the best thing for right now because the way that they push, the cops want this park clean, and so they have to move, and then they move back. And they're doing this 2-3 times a week, which is upsetting how they set up their tents and everything.
Do you think it would kind of solve the issue if homeless people just had a designated place to be?
You gotta look at the foundation of it. These people are taken care of. There's no compassion. So they don't care. So you give them any place, they're gonna destroy it. You gotta give them goals.
Yeah.
You gotta give them a place that they can take care of, something they can do. And encourage them. Say, hey, if you do this, clean up this area, then you're gonna have this, and this is the people strive for a reward. This is a lack of compassion. They've gotten in an argument with their parents or something, so they feel kicked out, neglected. Society doesn't give them a place to live. Our schools do not teach 401k. Our schools do not teach how to open a bank account. Our schools do not teach.
That's so true.
Yeah. And when these people come out into society and they don't have the structure like a job and parents, then they're lost. And
Exactly.
They come out here and start doing drugs because there's no compassion to teach them and show them how to do it right.
So not only
Give them
should
them something to shoot for. Give them a home, and if they keep it clean or keep it nice, and then give them some furniture and make sure they're keeping it up. And other than that, that's it.
That's so true.
No, not only a place to stay, but create incentives, right?
Exactly.
Create incentives, not monetarily necessarily, but
if you do that, then hey, if you can pick up the trash in your neighborhood, then hey. There's a program in LA called Chrysalis. People go in, and this is what you sign up. She goes, come back tomorrow. That's the first lesson. Can you be on time and come back when you're in?
Oh.
And then you come back, and then there's a class. You get a suit to attend they give you a suit to go to an interview. They give you a bus fare to go to the interview and get back. They'll give you lunch if it happens during noon, your interview. Classes, anger management, how to talk during an interview, blah, 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 how to write a resume. They give you a memory stick so you can work on your resume.
Okay.
Go to the computer. It's a great program called Chrysalis. I'm surprised it's not here in the city.
This week, it's all about housing. And on the past couple of days, we've reported on how things are getting more expensive. Things are getting more competitive. There's not as much availability. All of it is squeezing the housing market. And that same pressure is in part contributing to homelessness. There are more than 580,000 Americans who do not have permanent housing, no fixed address at this moment.
They taught us life skills classes. We had financial literacy offered at the Career Center.
Because you need to pick up skills that you just hadn't had the chance to develop before.
Yeah, and I hadn't had a bank account since I was like still 19 years old.
The risk of becoming homeless in America has gone up for more than a decade, according to the National Alliance to End Homelessness. And the rising price of rent, coupled with inflation pressure, is not helping. Just a $100 increase in median rent was associated with a 9% increase in the estimated homelessness rate, according to a 2020 report by the U.S. Government Accountability Office. And that means this is not just a shelter problem. City Team, which runs this space, is one of several programs just in this county that literally trains people to stabilize their lives after being unhoused. At the height of the pandemic, we spoke with Maria Castaneda and her family living in city-built tiny homes after a period of homelessness.
There is a heater which keeps us warm, and there's AC too when it was hot, so it's a good thing. Our own bed, warm, so it was pretty good.
Even though it's small, but it's way better than where we were before.
One of the things that's really impressive about this program is their permanency rate. People staying in housing after, a year is 70%.